evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for May 17th, 2022. It's great to see so many people here. If we could all please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And if we could please just bow our heads in a moment of silence as we remember the tragedy that occurred in Buffalo this past weekend. Senseless and disgusting tragedy. Today we're going to pray for the victims, which include Roberta A. Drury, age 32 of Buffalo. Celestine Cheney, 65, also of Buffalo. Andre McNeil, 53, of Auburn. Catherine Massey, 72, of Buffalo. Margus Morrison, 52, of Buffalo. Hayward Patterson, 67, also from Buffalo. Aaron Salter Jr., retired police officer, age 55, of Lockport. Geraldine Talley, 62, of Buffalo. Ruth Whitfield, 86, also of Buffalo. And Pearl Young, age 77, of Buffalo. Those are the names of those who perished, and we also want to say keep in our thoughts and prayers today those injured, including Zaire Goodman, age 20, of Buffalo. Jennifer Warrington, age 50, of Tonawanda. And Christopher Braden, 55, of Lackawanna. We keep these souls in our prayers tonight. We keep their communities in our prayers tonight, and we ask for all the power in the world to heal and to overcome this terrible, terrible tragedy that occurred in the state of New York this past weekend. Thank you.
Amen.
Again, greetings everybody and welcome to tonight's Town Board meeting. We'll start with introductions and I'll begin to my right.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Good evening, Tom Diana, Deputy Supervisor, Councilman.
Matt Slater, Town Supervisor.
Councilman Ed Lachterman.
Sergio Esposito, Councilman.
Luciana Howitt, Councilwoman.
Adam Rodriguez, Town Attorney.
Thank you all very much. Again, great crowd, and it's rather fitting that we're recognizing our EMTs tonight. We have EMTs from YVAC and MVAC, Mohegan and Yorktown here. I want to just take a moment. I know we're going to talk more about the great things that you do in our community, but when we began the COVID pandemic, it was quite the experience, but we had incredible help because we had your organizations leading the way here in the town of Yorktown. And we had formed a task force early on to hear directly from our ambulance corps about what you were seeing in our community, and that really set the tone and helped us in tremendous ways. And here we are again months later, and COVID-19 unfortunately is back in the news because we're seeing that once again we saw from our county executive George Latimer yesterday that the numbers are starting to increase. The county executive called it another surge. There have been no restrictions that have been handed down from the county or from the state of New York for our town and our schools at this point in time. But I know that, and I spoke with both school districts, both the school districts and the town are going to wait for either New York State or Westchester County if there are any restrictions or updated policies that are handed down. New York State Department of Health and the CDC are encouraging people to wear masks when they're indoors in public venues at this point in time. From the town's perspective, we're continuing our vaccines. Our vaccine clinics have been very popular and very successful. They've been great. We've just last week provided boosters over at Beaver Ridge, as well as Wynwood Oaks in Shrub Oak. And I believe this Thursday, next Thursday, thank you, May 26th, we're going to be hosting another booster clinic at the Cappellini Center, and we're going to be providing more information about those details in the coming days. But I think we're close to closing in on over 70 vaccine clinics that we've offered so far through the town, and I want to thank our partners over at Save More Pharmacy and Taconic Pharmacy for being there for us and helping us accomplish that because it's fantastic. and a great service to our community. Last week, we, as a town board, approved $1.2 million investment into the Albert A. Capellini and Community Cultural Center. For those who've been here longer than the last couple of years, that's also known as the old sixth grade school, or Councilman, the sixth grade school.
The sixth grade school.
The sixth grade school.
Actually, at one time, the school
The
system.
school. Yes, yes. But this is going to be a great investment over at the sixth grade school, where we'll be able to replace the roof with the new roof. We're going to upgrade our HVAC system, and the Yorktown stage will be seeing new seats in the theater. And we're just very excited to be able to make this investment in such a key and wonderful community asset here in Yorktown. I want to congratulate the winners of our annual fishing derby. We were over at Sparkle Lake this past weekend. It was a wonderful day, thanks to the Parks and Rec Department. I have a list of some of the winners. Liam Healy, who won the most fish caught, and he caught the largest sunny. And I was watching him. He was catching a lot of fish. Holy smokes. I think it was the bait. Landon Ferreira won the smallest sunny and the largest bass. Egan O'Brien won the smallest bass. And last but not least, this young gun, Charlie Slater, won the largest catfish and the smallest catfish of the day. And so congratulations to the winners. And again, thank you to Parks and Rec for hosting really what's a great event here in the town of Yorktown. Great to be outside, outdoors, showing off our great natural assets and teaching our kids how to enjoy them. So and it was great to see so many families out there as well. I want to thank Tom Dunn. I don't know if Mr. Dunn is here. But Tom Dunn was instrumental in bringing the March of Dimes, March for Babies, to the FDR Park here in Yorktown this past weekend. It was the first time that Yorktown played host to this regional walk. It was really an eye-opener for me, specifically on maternal health statistics. And again, I say that with our EMTs here. But something I think everyone should really take some time and learn about, because the health disparities are just mind-blowing. It's really hard to believe that we're living in the greatest country in the world in the 21st century, but the statistics don't reflect that. And so it's something I think we can all just take some time to review and learn about. And again, this great organization being on the forefront, advocating for better maternal health for mothers and babies. Let's see. We also have with us the Railroad Park. If you're driving past Railroad Park here in the Heights Hamlet, you're going to see the basketball court is well underway. So we're making great progress there. Parks and Rec Superintendent Jim Moderano is telling us that we're going to have mid-June, the court will be ready. So we're going to see some 2-on-2 right there, Councilman Esposito. Some 2-on-2, some dunking. Yeah.
That's it. I'm a three-point man. So.
And we have our Highway Superintendent Paganelli joining us. But we're excited to see Railroad Park basketball court back to just a great status. And thank you to all who made that possible, including our Parks and Rec Commission. Sustainable Westchester is going to be hosting another. It's their second. Of a host of informational sessions that they're holding regarding the Westchester Power program that the town of Yorktown is looking into. This is a very important initiative, both for the environment but also for our ratepayers. As we already know, Con Ed already put in for a rate increase to be approved by PSC in the state of New York. Rumor on the street is that NYSEG is expected to be putting in one as well in the coming weeks. So we know it's coming. And when we talk about what can the town do, really Westchester Power Program is one of the smartest things that we can be investing in. And dozens of communities across Westchester have already done it. So we're doing our due diligence. We're trying to get the word out. We're trying to educate people about what it means. I know Yorktown 100 is involved in it. The Climate Smart Communities Task Force, we're going to hear from shortly, is involved in it. But it is Thursday, May 19th, 7 p.m. It's a Zoom meeting, so you don't even have to leave your living room, and you can wear your Zoom suit if you want. But that's again this coming Thursday, the 19th, at 7 p.m. Let's see. We have a new resident meeting. Something we're trying. Something new. Get it? New resident meeting. For those people who moved to the town of Yorktown since the beginning of the year, we're inviting them to Town Hall this coming Thursday to learn about the different services the town provides, to learn about their new home, to learn about their new town. When you're a new resident, it may take some time for people to understand the different services that we offer here. And when you think about it, there's a lot, and it's fantastic. So we're going to try to, this new initiative to give them a crash course in all things Yorktown, from the clerk's office to the library to our parks and all the different services that are here to help people acclimate and adjust to living in our wonderful community. I also want to just point out and get it on everyone's radar that June 15th, we're going to be putting together something we've talked about here in the town board, and I want to thank Trissy Kushner and Liz Talbert and Alliance for Safe Kids. We're putting together a little informational session on cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is really becoming a problem in a lot of different ways, not just here in the town of Yorktown, but across the country. And unfortunately, Yorktown's not immune to it. But it's having a significant impact on the mental health of the kids of our community. And I know that you can talk about this, Councilwoman, specifically. But it's something that we want to bring to the forefront and really start educating not just the kids, but parents about cyberbullying. And what do you do if you see or you feel that your child's being cyberbullied? Because I can tell you, growing up here in Yorktown, it was a different time. These things weren't around, right? So you would leave school, you'd go home. Your home was your safe haven. Not anymore. It just doesn't happen anymore. And so these kids are just really, we're hearing just tragic stories here in our community and in the region and across the state and the country of children just being put under so much emotional stress because of cyberbullying and just bullying in general through social media and other outlets. And it's something, again, working with Alliance for Safe Kids. We're going to be working with NAMI, who was here for raising awareness on suicide prevention and mental health awareness, and working with our Chief of Police, Robert Noble, and some of the social workers in our schools. We're going to have a comprehensive conversation about this because I think it's time that we as a community acknowledge it, acknowledge that it's an issue, and start working on ways to provide tools for my fellow parents and our community to start utilizing when they're recognizing and dealing with cyberbullying.
Yeah, and also the awareness of that it's done through gaming as well. A lot of the programs now you can take their phones, but they can
Right.
it's creeping through gaming as well.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
then-
with like a Xbox 360 or PS,
Or even
whatever
Roblox
it is
on
we're
your
up to now,
phone.
right? I mean, it's just
The main issue, though, and I think you put it at a meeting that we were at together, was that it doesn't ever turn off.
right.
When we were kids, you went home, and if you were getting bullied in school, you had some reprieve because they couldn't get you in your house, right?
Not anymore.
Cyberbullying is right front and center in your house, in your car, and it happens pretty much everywhere. And I think that's really a bigger challenge as well.
Yep, absolutely, it really is. So we'll be talking about that. Last two things, I want to thank Fable Farm for hosting a wonderful farm fest this past weekend. I love pointing out the fact that Fable Farm is in the town of Yorktown. Love it. And they did a great job. We had a wonderful time down there. TJ Deacon, Tom Deacon doing a great job. They probably had, 15 different vendors from all over the Hudson Valley, fresh food, fresh products, and it was great to see. And lastly, I want to congratulate Shane Gannon, a Yorktown High School senior who made Eagle Scout with Somers Troop 228. Somers Troop 228 is just, I think they had a dozen Eagle Scouts who are graduating this year. I mean, it was just incredible to see. But Shane did a wonderful project over at the Yorktown High School in the back of the building with one of the gardens. I happened to be able to come by. He had Carpenter's Local 279 there, and so Shane wasn't just the foreman for his scout troop; he was the foreman for the Carpenters there as well. So it was great to see, and congratulations to Shane and all the other scouts who achieved making the Eagle Scout this past weekend in Somers 228. And lastly, the last two things I wanted to just mention, and I know you're going to touch upon this, but Saturday, you will not find Councilman Lachterman or myself in Yorktown. We get to go on one of the best trips in the world, and that's Honor Flight this Saturday, flying out of Westchester Airport. Councilman Lachterman is a guardian for some of and his wife Carol, for two of our local veterans.
Absolutely.
And I'm part of the flight team as a bus leader, so if you hear about a bus getting lost in D.C., it might be mine. I'm joking. But so we'll be down there, and it's going to be just a spectacular trip. If anyone wants to be a part of it, even if you're not going on the flight, you can go in the morning to Westchester Airport for the pre-flight kickoff, the send-off. But honestly, the best part of the whole day is at the end when we're flying into Westchester about 8 o'clock at night. And sir, I know you were on it. I remember. And you come in and you get the hero's welcome home, and it's amazing. So be a part of it if you can be. I know we have a lot of our veterans here who we're going to be recognizing as part of our Military Appreciation Month efforts, but I'm very excited to be on this trip with you, Councilman. It's going to be fantastic.
Fantastic. And, my wife and I are looking forward to it. We've done it before. It's an amazing day. And, you bring up a great point, Supervisor Slater. There is nothing as emotional after knowing what our Vietnam veterans went through coming home in the 70s. To see the welcome that they get coming back in to Westchester, and when they had a flight, it's from Stewart, and there will be 2 more this year, one from Stewart, one from Westchester as well. To see them get the welcome home that they deserve for defending our country, for fighting for our flag and our rights, it's. There's not a as they say, it's called the honor flight allergies. There's not a dry eye in the place, and it's amazing. I highly recommend doing it. And I will say, when we came home the last time, which was in 2019, I ran into a friend of mine there, and I said, "Well, what are you doing down here? Do you have someone on the flight?" He said, "No, my kids wanted to go out and see the new Marvel superhero movie." I said, "You know what? Why don't we go see some real heroes?"
It's awesome.
And that's where he brought his kids. It was just amazing.
It's great.
Councilman Leckerman, when's the last time that any family, friends, or groups in town want to submit cards or thank you notes?
They were supposed to be in, but if anyone wants to submit a card to any veteran, if you get it to me by Friday, I can make sure they get dispersed on the plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so. Just anyone could see me. Call. My number's all over town hall and on the board, on the Lions board in the middle of town. So just reach out and we could get that in there.
Thanks. And the last thing I just wanted to say is to all of the school board candidates running tonight, good luck. We know firsthand how hard it is to run for public office, and I know these days even school board races become very challenging and stressful in our community. Polls are open until 9 p.m. So if you haven't gotten that chance to get out there, you still have an hour and 10 minutes. But to all the candidates, best of luck, great job, and welcome to public life. With that, I'll turn it over to Councilman Diana.
It's interesting. And if you don't mind, I'd like to just defer to Councilwoman Howitt.
Sure.
Tonight. I'm going to give her the number 1 position tonight.
Thank you. Wow, that's very sweet of you.
And then you can come back to me.
Okay.
She's always usually the last. I want her to go first tonight.
No, I love that. Thank you. I know. I got a little special treatment tonight. I do want to just touch base on Fable Farm. They are doing an event May 29th for children between the ages of 3 and 5. It is from 11 to 12, and it is going to be making mini frittatas with the vegetables that are actually in the garden. They're going to teach children how to pick the ingredients, wash them, and place them into this baking tray. I don't know if they'll put them in the oven, but they are trying to run these cooking classes for all children of different ages. The more we can spread the word, the more they can run them without having, patrons to come and actually contribute. They're not able, they cancel a lot of them because of that. So I thought I would give them a shout out. This week, what was most touching was we launched the town and the Food Security Task Force partnered in baby formula. And the drive is not only located here and at First Presbyterian, also there's another location, right?
St. Mary's and Mohegan.
St. Mary's and Mohegan. And so if you know anyone that might have some non-expired or recently expired baby formula on their shelves, or maybe when you're out at the store, which was mentioned, by Councilman Ed Leckerman, pick up an extra one. There's a huge food shortage for our most vulnerable, and these babies need it to live, and it's our job to kind of step in as a community. And I know that Yorktown has the ability to stick together and bring that to life. Like I mentioned, the food drive bins are here in Town Hall. There's one at First Presbyterian, and there's also one in St. Mary's over in Mohegan Lake. And I guess I'll give a big shout out to EMS Appreciation Day, which will be May 21st. So visit Burger King, and a portion of your a portion of the sales are actually going to.
I actually stole that from Matt to talk about. But
Did you? Oh, sorry, I didn't.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Good job.
Good
job.
Well, I mean,
She gets all excited. I let her go first tonight.
I love how they put the ambulance going. So I guess go right through the drive-through. Place an order, and a portion will go there. And Thank you, Councilman Diana, for letting me go first.
Did I throw you all off?
Yeah,
tonight?
totally. Usually I'm like the best for last. Today I'm the best for first, maybe.
You know,
No?
I'd like to just give a shout out to our local Burger King, because they are very supportive of all of our community groups.
Yeah.
And they are great. So, you know, if you get by on the 21st, that's fantastic. But they're very good people there, and they really support our community. I see Captain Davin shaking his head, so I know you've dealt with him quite a bit. All right, sorry, Tommy.
That's okay.
Why don't we
Oh.
continue down the line?
Go ahead. You want to come back up this
Esposito.
way? That's good.
Go for
I
it.
said the
You
best
got
for
it,
last.
Councilman.
I'm up, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, so just some upcoming events. On Sunday, May 22nd, between 10 and 4, there's the Spring Market and Car Show. It's going to be located right where the Feast of San Gennaro is held and Fam Jam was. They're going to have music, car show. I think there's over 40 vendors that are going to be there, so it's going to be a great day. It's going to be between 10 and 4. Admission is free. There'll be food trucks. Spark is holding their walk on Saturday, May 21st, between 1 and 3 at the Jack DeVito Field. Family Fun Day is Sunday, May 22nd as well, between 12 and 4 at Granite Knolls, and that's held by Yorktown for Justice. So I think that'll be a great event as well. It's EMS week, and I wanted to say congratulations to all of you and for what you guys do. And I've heard some of the stories from my friends of mine, and I think maybe once you guys came and grabbed me because I had kidney stones a long time ago. So, and Police Week is coming up, and you also have Relay for Life. And I'm glad to hear about this discussion about cyberbullying. So I'm looking forward to, getting that off the ground and seeing if we can make a difference or an impact. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Councilman Lackerman?
Well, we already spoke about Honor Flight. I know the Yorktown.
We just stripped him today.
Strip me
Now you know how you
EMS.
feel.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's true.
I will mention, if we have any golfers in the room or people who pretend to be like me, the Yorktown Lions have a golf outing coming up on June 6th, Monday, D-Day actually, and that'll be held at Somers Point. There's information on YorktownLionsClub.com as well as on the board in the center of town, looking for golfers and sponsors, and it's always a very, very fun event. And you know what? I think that's really about it for me today.
All right.
Okay.
Say it's not so.
That's so, just the one.
You know, they talk about cyberbullying. I don't know if you've ever seen Ed when he's up on the stage when they do the concert series and he reaches for his telephone. I telephone bully him from out watching the concert generally almost every time, and he answers every time. That's the worst part. He knows it's me calling him. But anyway, folks, we're going to go on to Granite Knolls. On June 4th, if you'll take a look at the TV screens to your left and right, June 4th, 2022, it's a place for everyone. We are going to have the grand opening, ribbon cutting of the Granite Knolls Inclusive Playground. If you haven't been up there, take a ride up. It is really coming along nice. Most of the matting is down on the ground now. It's like walking on a sponge. And all the different type of I'm going to call them attractions for our less fortunate kids can get in there and really have a good time. It's really, really a neat thing. I'm so happy that we did this, and I think it's just another thing. It's another jewel in the town of Yorktown. We have a lot of jewels and gems here. This is going to put us on the map, folks. There's only, I believe, 3 of them within New York State, maybe?
East Fishkill.
Right? East Fishkill and us.
Kent.
Oh, Kent has one now? Okay.
I think Ryan does too, right?
Ryan,
Yeah.
East Fishkill, Kent.
And it's at the Granite Knoll Sports Complex, and that's 2975 Stony Street. And whether you have a mailbox there, you get your mail in the post office to see the Shrub Oak or Mohegan Lake. So, please, if you can make it, it's going to be a great day. We also have Home Depot has given a lot of material for the gardens and the planters and so forth that are there. But this is just phase 1. Phase 2 comes for the sensory garden. The sensory garden is for everybody. The Sensory Garden is where you want to go up there and just read a book and be peaceful. You can do that. If you want to, if it's a veteran, let's say with PTSD, wants to just come up in solitude, he or she can do that. If the kids want to run around and they want to touch different plants, they can do that because it's going to be adjacent to the interactive playground. So I love this project. As you can probably tell, I've talked about it a number of times, and I got to give a shout out. Number one to Luke Caniff. Now, most of you don't know Luke Caniff. Luke Caniff is a little guy, kindergarten, I believe. Yeah, little guy who, maybe first grade now, whose mom sent Diana an email. This is what got the ball rolling with this whole thing. We were able to get grants from the state of $250,000. The town put in approximately $100,000, and we have another $50,000 for the Sensory Garden coming. So it's really been a public, but it's also a private partnership. Lakeland Lumber stepped up to build the planters and gave a donation. And they've had other donations. Diana could probably speak about that because they have all gone through the Rotary to write the checks for the donations. It's such a public-private partnership and such a beautiful thing for the kids that are handicapped. And it's even for regular kids, excuse me. It's even for non-handicapped kids. They can go up there and play also. Some of the people that have been really involved in it, is Anna Mandaro, Jamie Collins, our very own town clerk Diana, our Parks and Recreations Department and Commission. Everybody's worked hand in glove here to get this thing done, and the town board. I cannot leave this great group out either. I'm so proud of everybody that's stepped up to the plate to do this for our kids in this town and in other towns that can come in. But as you see up there, it's a place for everyone. That's what Luke called it. And he's such a great young man. So that should be... Oh, and as long as we're on Granite Knolls, I'm just going to say it again, folks, please. Anybody who's watching this, if you go out on the fields, clean up after yourself. Okay? I don't know how many times I've gone up there now. We've picked up bottles. The guys have to go up there and pick up your bottles and your pizza boxes and your McDonald's wrappers and all that kind of stuff. It's not right. So, folks, if you could please tell your guys and gals that go up there to play ball, everybody's welcome to go there. Just clean up after yourself. There's 25 garbage cans, one at each entrance to the field. Okay? You don't have to walk far. Just carry it off and put it in a garbage can. We'll take it from there. It's the premier sports complex in Westchester County. Let's keep it that way. It's kind of sad that you have to put signs up to say clean up after yourself. I mean, that should be something that's taught from day one.
You hear that, Liam and Tristan? Tell your friends. Clean up their snacks.
And, you know, we were talking about the Vietnam vets and the welcome home that they didn't get. And it always harkens me to a story that guy that I love him, Gene Lang. He's part of the Purple Heart chapter. And his group came back, and him and 4 of his buddies had to share one dime to call home. Mm-hmm. They had not a dime, and that dime they had to borrow from somebody on the street. They had to beg on the street after serving their country to be able to call home, to have somebody pick them up at the airport. So, that one always gets me. But you know what? They made it. They made it home. God bless them. God bless all our veterans out there. God bless our EMS services. and there's nothing I used to love to hear more when I was a cop than YVAC is en route or Mohegan's en route when I was on an 80 case. Thank you, guys.
Right, thank
You know, I just want to point out as I gave that shout out to Burger King, Home Depot has been great in our community as well.
Oh, my God, yeah.
They've helped a lot with the veterans. They've helped a lot with the garden, and you know, it's great to see that community partnership.
Fantastic. Even though he's not here, we wish him well. Tom Ciangela just wanted to remind me to tell all of you, actually, that the new resident forum will be live on our government access channel. So if you can't be here and you want to hear what we're talking about, you can tune in. If you're a new resident, you can also tune in. So that'll be live again coming up later this week on Thursday. Same with the cyberbullying on the 15th. We'll be videotaping that for the government access channel as well.
You know what they used to call that, though, Matt? It was the welcome wagon years ago here. And they used to come if you moved into the place, and they brought you a little bag of probably a phone book. There was, you know, some restaurants to go to, whatever the case may be. But good.
My mother-in-law used to do Welcome Wagon back in the day.
Yep, good new start.
They're
Good new
still
start
around.
of an old thing.
Yes, it is.
They're still around, right?
Yes,
The
they are.
Welcome Wagon's
Wagon?
still around.
Yes, they're still around.
Yep.
All right, we're going to turn it over to our Highway Superintendent, Dave Paganelli.
Are you
Looking good.
sure?
I think so.
So I'll be brief. I'd like to express my thanks to our veterans, military, particularly on the eve practically of Memorial Day. I'd like to very much acknowledge the ambulance corps, Mohegan and YVAC, particularly YVAC, because I've benefited personally from their attention. And the truck day is tomorrow, so, you know, let's hope we go without any incidents. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my assistant, Ann Anderson. All right, I think I witnessed more calls coming in at Highway than anywhere, and she's a tremendous asset to me as well as the community and the ambulance corps. So shout out to you, Ann. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Good.
Thanks, Dave.
That. All right, with that, Major Sheridan, would you like to come forward, please? You got it? Our local VFW post 8328, sir.
And actually, Mr. Sheridan, you have some other VFW members
Yes.
with you? Would the other VFW members please approach the podium as well?
Come on up.
We're not volunteering you for anything. It's just coming up. I know Carl never wants to step up and volunteer. He's smart. You learn that early.
Volunteer.
You learn that early, right, Carl?
He's learned.
Yes,
You want to have Major Sheridan first, and then,
absolutely.
sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here during Military Appreciation Month. Just some brief background about the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States. It's an organization that draws its roots back to about 1899 from three small organizations that were formed by veterans of the Spanish-American War and the Philippines campaign. And since that time in 1899, 8 U.S. presidents have actually been members of it. The key criteria for eligibility in the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States is honorable service, either still on active duty or in a reserve status, or retired, or an honorably discharged veteran who served in one of the armed forces and was awarded a campaign medal. So essentially a foreign campaign for which hostile fire pay or imminent danger pay. Worldwide, the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States has over 1.5 million members and auxiliaries, and wrong glasses. Some of the major programs and benefits that the VFW administers are various scholarship programs, some financial aid and comfort and assistance to comrades and family members in distress, and also through our veteran service officers, assistance with VA claims. Our local post is Post 8328. We're located right over on Veterans Road across from the Veterans Memorial Park at 257 Veterans Road. We have a hall that's available for rental. You'll be able to see it on Memorial Day, May 30th, contrary to anything that it may say on the Parks and Rec website. It's May 30th, Memorial Day. That program will start at about 11 a.m. over here by the Remembrance Circle, and the parade route will take us down past the firehouse and around the corner over to the gazebo. Following any speechifying that happens at the gazebo, we'll have hot dogs and beverages, and I think the American Legion also 2 doors down from us. We have a canteen that opens roughly noon every day that's available for members and their invited guests. We have a Facebook page. I'd invite you to find that, like it, and follow us. Best way to get a hold of us is at our phone number, 914-962-2885, or at our email address, vfwpost8328@yahoo.com.
Great.
Like us on Facebook.
Thumbs up.
And if you want to check eligibility, just get a hold of us, get a hold of one of the officers. We'll take a look at your DD-214. If we see the qualifying requirements, we'll be happy to recommend you for membership in our local post 8328.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks for your attention.
And I will say to all of those younger vets that have served overseas, the camaraderie and the shared experience and being with peers is an amazing thing as I've seen the interaction, and I highly recommend that our youth get involved, our younger veterans get involved with either the VFW or the American Legion Hall, and really not shun away from that. There's quite a great support group there, and I learn stuff at every meeting that we have. So.
Yeah.
Perhaps included as one of the topics for the new folks welcoming the new residents to town. Just give us a good referral and ask them to like our Facebook page.
I will.
Are you in like a contest with the Legion on
We're working on
Facebook
it.
likes here?
We're working on it. If we can get the likes, it would be great.
Well, if you gentlemen wouldn't mind, we have a proclamation today I'd like to read. Whereas National Military Appreciation Month, as recognized by the United States Congress, acknowledges the past and present service of American soldiers, and whereas Military Appreciation Month includes VE Day, Military Spouse Appreciation Day, Loyalty Day, Armed Forces Day, Public Service Recognition Week, and Memorial Day. And whereas the town of Yorktown greatly admires the brave men and women who served and presently serve our nation as a member of the United States Armed Forces, and whereas members of the United States military make tremendous sacrifices to defend our liberties and spread freedom throughout the world, and whereas Military Appreciation Month recognizes all of our courageous neighbors serving in all branches of the service, including the National Guard Reserves, veterans, and all of their families, and whereas the town of Yorktown is proud of the many organizations within our community who support both active and retired military personnel, including veterans of foreign wars post-8328, and whereas the National VFW was founded in 1899 to fight for veterans, service members, and their families, and whereas VFW post-8328 is part of a larger organization and has more than 1.5 million members between VFW and VFW Auxiliary, and whereas VFW Post 8328 will be hosting this year's Memorial Day Parade and ceremony, now therefore be it resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes May as Military Appreciation Month. Be it further resolved that the town of Yorktown applauds VFW Post 8328 for its commitment to our local veterans, service members, and their families, and be it further resolved that the town of Yorktown offers its appreciation to VFW Post 8328 and its leadership for organizing the 2022 Memorial Day Parade and ceremony.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen, we want to thank you, and a shout out to your commander also, and
Yes.
all of you folks, and all of your members.
And we will like you on Facebook.
And we'll like you on Facebook, Mike.
Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you for that resolution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sorry?
He's impressed you to
Thank you
read
for
it.
that glasses.
I'm nearsighted.
Since we put it on the,
Don't give him your secrets.
put it on the agenda.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to our next presentation for National EMS Week. Actually, real quick, I just got to tell him. So, Mike Sheridan, Mike, I just got to say this one story though, because you don't even know it. But this past summer, when I was on vacation, and we were pulling out of Afghanistan, you were posting like play-by-play on your. I like your social media. I like your Facebook page. I did like it, but it was so insightful to understand what was happening from your perspective and your point of view through your military experience. And it really, I think, just shed a whole different light on. You saw what's happening from obviously in the news. Everyone was watching it, right? But what you put up just brought a whole new level of understanding to it. So I really want to thank you for that. And that's exactly the kind of thing that I know your organization and you specifically bring to our community whenever you have an opportunity to. And so I just wanted to thank you. Thank you, Mike. All right, next I'm going to hand these over to Councilwoman Howitt, and we'll be talking EMS week. So the floor is yours, Councilwoman.
Yeah. We're going to call them up?
However you want to do it.
Oh, I don't know how to do that stuff, but why don't you come up and do your presentation first, and then I'll read a whole bunch of stuff.
So we'll do YVAC first, and then we'll do
okay.
MVAC. How's
Okay,
that?
sure.
So we can recognize them both.
Go for it.
So Rick, you want to take the podium for a second?
Should we get them all up there?
They can all come up with them if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Have
Good
them all
evening.
come
My
up.
name is Rick Davin. I'm the captain
Hold on,
of
Rick.
Yorktown
Can we get
Ambulance. You want
everybody
them all
here?
come up?
Everybody come up. Come on. Want to see you guys.
My kids, too.
Kids, too. Let's go. Gather around.
Do we know that big fella in the back?
Yeah.
Do we know him?
You've seen him once or twice.
He's got the cutest kids.
By,
in the
by the way, I just got to say, Rick, just for a second, but we also, Mr. Cariello here is also a member of the VFW.
Yeah.
Look at these guys.
Yeah.
I know
So
you
thank
wear
for your
dual
service.
hats, so thank you for your service, Rich. You do a great job. Appreciate it. Means a lot. All right, Rick, thanks.
Good.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
I'm just going to give you a brief overview tonight of YVAC and some of the history of EMS Week for those who don't know. But Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps, also known as YVAC, is a not-for-profit membership organization that provides emergency medical service and has been serving the town of Yorktown for the past 59 years. In 1962, the Yorktown Kiwanis Club appointed a committee to organize a Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps to supplement the one commercial ambulance serving the community. In 1963, with 27 members trained, Yorktown Ambulance Service was formed with a borrowed ambulance housed in a garage on Sawmill River Road. Later that year, a new ambulance was delivered and housed in a modified roadside market stand on Route 202 across from Springhurst Street, owned by the Yorktown School District. The Corps later purchased a half acre on the corner of Crampon Road and Loretta Street, and in 1972 moved their new official headquarters there. 20 years later, in 1992, an addition was added to the building to provide additional ambulance space and additional sleeping quarters for the on-duty members. YVAC has 3 New York State certified ambulances that provide the service to the town of Yorktown 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Last year, in 2021, YVAC responded to 1,604 calls for assistance, of which 1,054 patients were transported for a total of over 9,000 miles on the ambulances. As all our members are volunteers, they come from diverse backgrounds, students, employed, and retirees. We currently have 32 New York State trained emergency medical technicians and 3 probationary members in various stages of training. Our EMTs are continuously trained in the newest techniques and procedures, and members are required to be on duty a minimum of 24 hours a month. When additional crews are needed, members respond by radio from home or by work. You know that. Mm-hmm. We're always looking for new members over 18 that would like to volunteer and help others within our community. Applications are on our website at www.yvac.net. For those who are 14 to 18 years of age, we also have a youth group. These young members are certified in first aid and CPR and assist the Senior Corps in various local activities and fundraising events. YVAC maintains a loan closet for the community, and items that can be donated and borrowed include walkers, crutches, and wheelchairs. This week, National EMS Week is celebrated this year, May 15th to May 21st. EMS Week brings together local communities and medical personnel to honor the dedication of those who provide the day-to-day life-saving services of medicine's front line. This year's campaign focuses on recognizing the selfless callings that makes EMS so vital. The 2022 EMS Week theme is Rising to the Challenge. The theme of Rising to the Challenge is particularly meaningful as it reminds our nation that EMS professionals are faced with so many challenges today, and they still rise above them. Through it all, EMS continues to respond, support, and care for the needs of our communities. As you can see from our numbers from last year, YVAC truly rose to the challenge with an increase of 22% in total calls, 29% increase in patients transported, and a 26% increase in miles driven. We also have seen a 273% increase in mutual aid calls from an average of 50 per year to 183 last year. Mutual aid calls when YVAC is requested to respond to another community to assist in covering their calls. The true meaning of volunteerism can be exemplified by two members who have joined me this evening. Rich Cariello and Jeff Siegel both joined the ambulance corps in 1974. Were you guys 6 then? They both have served the corps and community for the past 48 years. Rich's accomplishment includes 3 life-saving awards, 2 baby deliveries, and Jeff has 7 life-saving awards. They both continue to volunteer continuously 12 hours a week. Please join me in thanking the 2 members who are past captains also and truly know what volunteering in a community is all about. And lastly, as part of EMS Week, you already held it up.
You got one of those too?
I got one of those. I don't know where they're coming from.
Man, they just keep dropping from the ceiling.
Yeah, if you could, if you're out this week on Saturday the 21st, stop by the Yorktown Burger King. And Burger King, as Ed said, is a great partner of the town, and they're donating a percentage of their profits from that 4-hour segment to Yorktown. We have a new ambulance on order that we're trying to fund, and that would greatly help us.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Do you want it? Because they both did the same proclamation. So do you want me to read it after and have?
Yeah. So why don't we bring Paul up?
Yeah, and then
Paul,
after I'll read
you
both.
want to bring you and your crew up from Mohegan?
And then I'll bring you both up.
And real quickly, since my mind is a sieve while they're coming up, and you mentioned Rich's dual membership in both the EMS and also the VFW, we do have our Veterans Advisory Committee meeting every third Wednesday of the month at the VFW, and this is coming up. It's 7:15 p.m., and any veteran is invited to come and have some input and find out what's happening in town.
And if you can't get to Burger King, you can always drop off a check.
You guys are making me hungry. I gotta be honest.
So who's doing your food special here?
Anybody who wants to. We'll take money from anybody. We're not. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed Board of Directors, Council persons. My name is Paul Turiano. I am captain of Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps. With me is Jessica Porter, Assistant Chief, and Tony Iacone, who is in charge of the Board of Directors. So it's a pleasure. We thank you very much. Mohegan has a different, excellent presentation from Yorktown, Rick. I got to tell you, that was pretty nicely done. It's a hard thing to step up to. I think it's open mic night down at Yorktown Pub. Anyway, so what I will tell you is Mohegan will be celebrating this year their 100th anniversary.
All right.
And please like us on Facebook. You can find us at MoheganVolunteerFireAssociation.com, and we're on the Facebook page. 100 years. And during that period of time, at this point, we have 4 firehouses. We have a combination hybrid department of both career firefighters and volunteer firefighters and ambulance personnel. We do have EMTs. We have approximately about 24 EMTs and EMT drivers. We have a little more call volume than our esteemed colleagues from Yorktown. With our 4 firehouses, 3 ambulances, 1 fly car, we have approximately 42 square mileage of coverage and 3,500 ambulance calls per year. We thank Yorktown tremendously for their support because we had difficult times with many of us organizations getting members to ride and responding to the call. As town supervisor Matt Slater said, I got to make sure I get that all together. He is correct. COVID has done a real tough time with us. we have approximately 5 nursing homes, which we support wholly and support with all of our heart and soul. But that has a huge demand is placed on our organization. We also run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through, as everybody else does, through the cold in the winter. And I remember sitting right there with Councilman Patel saying, could you put a snowplow, sorry, David, could you put a snowplow, if you remember that meeting, could you put a snowplow in front of the ambulance? We're like, yeah, no, we can't do that. We do have enough opportunities that will always take volunteers. We always look for help. We do have some paid personnel on staff because we need to augment the number of calls we have. We can average anywhere from a couple of calls a day to our max, which we had a couple of conversations ago, which we think was our max call for the day, which is 18 calls, 18 911 calls in one day. We can have all 3 of our ambulances. By the way, Councilwoman, we do need a new ambulance, just to let you know. We do have 3 ambulances. They have over 70,000 miles on it, and they have seen a lot of stories. But basically, we all thank you for the opportunity to be here, apart myself, the rest of the line officers, the membership. Again, we run different because we run with fire, so we have a hybrid department. We run, and this nice young lady here was asking me, I remember you. She said, don't forget now, she was a Yorktown resident, but now she moved into Jefferson Valley. And she says, why do you run the fire truck? See, I remember. I listened to everything you say. I've been married 28 years. Anyway, she said, well, why do you run the fire trucks? Because we run a layered system. We run a layered system of support. Because with 3,500 EMS calls a year, we'll roll the fire truck or rescue unit, the paramedic, which Tina, we love, Tina right there. Tina will roll. We will also roll with the police. Thank you very much, gentlemen in the back. See how I work the room, Matt? I work the room.
You're good.
You're working.
And we bring everybody together. So we want to get to you with 42 square miles from basically Route 6, Curry Street, all the way to the hospital and Peekskill. So thank you very much. That was my ad lib, if you can tell, presentation, because I didn't know we had to present one, but I'm going to yell at somebody when I get back to the firehouse. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Paul Terriano, everybody. Great job.
He's here all week.
Tony, thank you.
Why don't we bring up?
Don't forget to tip your
Before we
bartenders.
do that, I just wanted to if I could, we said this when we kicked off EMS Week over the other day, which would be yesterday. Feels like a week ago. When we kicked off EMS Week with a sign, we do have a second one coming up to Shrub Oak to be put up outside the library.
Oh, that's a good
so
idea.
That'll be put up hopefully tomorrow, recognizing, of course, as we know, the 2 different districts that we have here in the town of Yorktown. But I just wanted to point again to everyone, our first responders are our neighbors. We know that. And they do an amazing job. For me, I see Mohegan when you respond to my mom's house to take care of my grandmother, which has happened more times than we'd like. And Wyvac, when my little girl was rushed down to Maria Ferreri out of Caremount here, you guys had us the whole way. We've seen it, and I've experienced it firsthand. And thank you is never enough. It's just never enough because you're always there in our times of need. Just to switch roles quickly back to my supervisor role, I could not have survived the COVID pandemic without the communication that we had. There's no way. You guys were telling me what was on the ground, what were you seeing. We were hearing in the news, spike, and I'm calling you, and I'm calling you, and I'm saying, what are you seeing out there? And you guys are giving me real time, here's the calls, here's what we're seeing. We need PPE, we don't need PPE. All that was so fluid, so rapid, and the only reason we were able to get through it was because of the partnership that we built and created. And we never had a chance to really thank everyone for what they did during COVID, because unfortunately, in some ways, we're still going through it, right? But I just wanted to really just take a moment and just really thank you.
Yeah.
Really. And I still remember, right when everything went to go down, we were right here around this table, and we were saying, Corona what? COVID what? And we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, but we had the right leaders rally around the table. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to handle it. And it just took off from there. And I don't think people realize all the effort that was put in, really from your standpoint, because you were literally the front lines. And people were calling 911 because they couldn't breathe. When they were calling 911, they needed a hospital. It was your teams. And unfortunately, I don't want to say people take it for granted, but I just don't think people realize it. and just always there for us. And I really want to just tell you how much we appreciate it, how much the community appreciates it. Myself and the entire town board, we recognize it. And I know you know, it's kind of like us, right? We never really hear all the good, but we want to say thank you and let you know that people do recognize the great effort that you put into our community. So thank you again.
And as we air this on to the community, this is an outreach. It's an outreach also just to have people self-reflect. The work that you guys do is not only superhero, it's incredibly noble. And I find that there's probably other people in this community that could help out and could also support. And I think it's really important to identify, like, it is not easy. And everything you guys see, you cannot ever unsee.
Right.
But what you do impacts our friends, our neighbors, you know, our neighbors, the communities neighboring our community when you guys do, you know, offsite calls and whatnot. But the one thing is, if there's anybody there at home or has someone, even a 20-year-old or someone who's looking to do something that actually brings value, this brings value. And that's why we as a community need to start supporting, actively financially supporting the volunteerism, because we can't do it. But instead of going to Target, I could drop off a check. Right? We can't do it ourselves. And when we have that one, you know, I know from firsthand just living with one of you wonderful members, you know, my husband leaves during dinner, during bath time, during a movie, during date night. Yes. My son knows it. Yes. And there are times where that, you know, he has a county radio along with a local radio to make sure if there's anything that's coming off. And I don't know who I'm listening to, but all I know is that there's a lot of people that have need. So if there's anyone who's willing to take a risk, to bet on yourself, to make an impact, and if not, just drop off a darn check and say thank you to these local heroes. It's really important as we come off Police Week, and now we're in Military Month, and now we have EMS Week, and there's just so much here that I'm so proud to have my children in the audience, because this is what makes up the fabric of this community. This is what keeps our friends and our neighbors and our children safe. And the chief did stop by. He did want to be here. He had another engagement. I do want to just read his letter to you guys. Every year since 2016, I have had the distinct pleasure of attending celebratory events involving the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps and Mohegan Lake Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Aside from enjoying the company of truly wonderful people at those events, it provides me with an opportunity to express my respect, appreciation, and support for the fine work they do in our community. The key component to that is work, is the word volunteer. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days, plow or no plow, right? Right? 365 days a year, the men and women of our local EMS teams answer the calls to assist YPDs in providing life-saving services to many in our community. Until you witness what these fine folks do for us, or until you need their selfless service for your own personal emergency, you can never fully appreciate all that there is in their sacrifice and their all-in mentality as they demonstrate on those emergency calls for service. These volunteers who work in tandem on many of calls of emergency services with outstanding members of Empress paramedics are unsung heroes in our community. The recognition that the members of the YVAC, MVAC, and Empress, you guys have all these initials, are recipients of this evening is truly well-deserved. You will not meet a finer group of men and women. To the members and family members who support the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and Empress Ambulance, on behalf of the members of the Yorktown Police Department, which I have some of my heroes back there, it is our honor to serve with you on the front lines of this life's preservation here in Yorktown. Stay healthy, stay safe, and keep making a positive difference in the lives of our community members. So I'll have this framed and sent to both of you guys. Okay? Do you want to do the... Okay. I'm going to keep reading. Okay. Ready? Liam, maybe this counts as your 20-minute reading for the day. whereas it is fit and proper to recognizing the outstanding service to the residents of Yorktown by dedicated individuals whose selfless acts save lives and protect our community. And whereas National Emergency Medical Services Week allows communities to honor those who stand on the front lines providing life-saving services. And whereas Yorktown's emergency medical service teams provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas the town of Yorktown is served by the Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and Empress Ambulance, and now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Yorktown declares the week of May 16th through the 22nd as Emergency Medical Service Week. And be it further resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes the countless hours, the selfless dedication of the members of the Mohegan Volunteer Ambulance Corps and the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps. And be it further resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes and applauds the commitment displayed by all of the emergency medical service operations who service the town of Yorktown.
Motion.
Second.
Aye.
Can both you and Rick stand up for me? I'm going to give you guys a second. Thank you for your service.
Come on, guys.
No photo shoot.
Hey, I'll go with the veteran.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we going? We'll get this on board. Does everyone else
Come
want
on
to
up.
up?
Come on, come on.
Come on.
Get in here, Dad. Come on, I'm going to have my makeup on. Get over here. Get in here.
Over here, you need some on this side. Over here next to me and Dave.
Like us on Facebook, Mohegan Volunteer.
Like us all.
Give them the like sign.
Right here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good.
Thank you. Oh, look. I'm sorry. Mike Nacho, we forgot about you in the paper.
I'm sorry. Okay, wait. We need to zoom that out. Okay, you're good.
There we go.
Thank you all. One more time.
It's nice with the rabbit ears. I got your best. Huh? I got your best. Yeah, I'm not sure about that now. Huh?
I use melatonin, but all right.
Hey.
Same here.
I'll take lots of pictures and videos for you. How about that? All right? Mr. Lang, don't think you're getting out of here that easily with a handshake.
There he is.
Important.
But I know who catches
The strong part.
I know who catches all those calls during the day.
All right. Go to. Thank you again. Take. We're gonna go. Keep going. All right. Here we go. All right. We're gonna come back to action. Even though we didn't really take a break, but we're gonna have our next presentation with the Climate Smart Communities Task Force.
Woohoo!
Sarah Wilson, Kira Brunner, come on up.
Yay.
Tell us what we got cooking.
We got good stuff?
It's a presentation.
All right.
On my baby's.
A lot of colors.
Thank you.
What she got?
Thank you.
Oh, right. We were talking about this with them.
Yeah, the energy audits.
All of them are need a little upgrade.
That would be sick.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to do. How's that?
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, good evening. Hi.
Good evening.
Hi.
So we are here today. I'm representing the Climate Smart Communities Task Force. I have Sarah Wilson here, who's a member of the task force. And
Paul Moskowitz coming in late, member of the task force. Perfect timing, Paul.
perfect timing.
Get on up there.
Back to be on time.
Just in time.
He just walked the runway.
I would say perfect timing.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
All right, what do we got?
Okay, so we're speaking about energy audits. We came in front of the town board for a work session one time to just give you an update. So the task force has come to a decision on who they want to pick to provide the energy audits.
Can you just go back for a
Recommend.
second?
Yes.
Just remind the board and the public on the CEC.
Right. So the town was named CEC, so a clean energy community, and due to 4 high action impact items and then also being named a CEC, we got grant money, 2 $5,000 grants, so $10,000 in total. And for that, we are going to use that money towards energy audits.
Reinvest it back into an energy program.
Correct. So we're hoping we know from the information that we'll get from the energy audits, we'll be able to look into that and see really in depth what we need to spend more of our time focusing on, what we need to update and become more energy efficient in. So I passed around to the board. Sarah passed around to the board, and up on the board as well, you'll see we contacted 3 companies. They got back to us with quotes. The second image down is the CEC input. So there are 2 different levels of audits that can be done, level 1 and level 2. Difference is level 2 just incorporates level 1 and gives you a little bit more information. So with a level 2, that's what we really would be looking for in terms of seeing how much upgrades and I'm at a loss for words, but you know what I mean, updates that we need for each building. And you'll see the buildings are listed as well. Some we are have skipped on some are included. But the Climate Smart Communities Task Force is recommending that we go with daylight savings, which is DST in green. If you look up there, with the $10,000 in grants, it comes out to a total. On the bottom, it's $9,920. The total would be $19,840, but half of it NYSERDA pays for as well. Exactly. So
for the town,
town is zero.
So we're using the grant money to invest it into this.
Great.
To invest it into this audit process. And I know that this town board in the past has bemoaned the fact that sometimes we do all this work, we do these studies, and then it ends up on a shelf.
No, we have no more shelf space.
And, right. So what the CSC task force, wants to, of course, remind us of is that when we do get the results of this audit, we want to understand and take the actions that are recommended that come out of this audit so that we can really start to get the benefits of this.
So we're going to be looking at the Capellini Center, the police department, is that
great.
right? The town court.
Yep.
Town hall.
Yep.
The highway garage.
Mm-hmm.
And the
sewer. Yep.
Sewer building.
That's great.
And I love that you even put the smaller venues on here because the truth is they do bleed energy and
Because
No, we got to pick and choose first. Yeah.
Because we're committed to not, only going up to the 10,000 that we have. We kind of had to prioritize
the most traffic.
Yeah. Buildings.
bang for the buck.
And I do want to mention, too, the last time an energy audit was done on any of the town buildings was back in, I think, 2007, 2010. So it's been a while, and things have changed a lot.
I guess like 19...
Me too. I would have been like, never?
No.
Back to the Future?
And the company who did it was Daylight Savings, so that was an extra...
but do they still have a file?
We do have all those files, yes.
Excellent.
So we'll be able to compare there, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always nice to see.
Yes, but we just wanted to bring the town board, make them aware of our recommendation, maybe get approval.
What's the
or
timeline on
deadline.
when's your deadline?
So the deadline to for the grant is this Saturday. Yes, I already have a meeting. I have a meeting with
let's go.
Yes,
this
with
guy?
CEC. For the paperwork, we just need the okay on our recommendation, and that everyone feels good about it.
What do you
We
think?
want to make
Councilman
everyone
Diana?
happy.
Sounds good.
Me too.
Get her done.
Moving at the speed of government.
Do we need a motion to go with daylight savings?
I think we need a Adam.
Do you have to do?
Mr. Rodriguez, talk to me.
I mean, I can work on a resolution when you guys go on.
And we can add it on at the end.
Yeah, sure.
Is there any other questions for the task force about this, about what we're trying to accomplish?
No.
I think
Sounds like they're pretty thorough.
Yeah, they were very thorough.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for how
Well,
thorough
we
you
were
were.
actually planning on presenting.
I know Tom will yell at me if I don't.
We were actually planning on presenting last week, but we still had some questions, open questions, and clarifications to get from the providers to make sure that we had all the information and the numbers were correct. And it was a good thing that we waited because we did get some additional information, and so we feel very confident in our
I appreciate you
recommendations.
vetting it.
Great. This is great.
Does this help us for climate smart communities with the projects that they recommend us doing and, and the
Yep.
whole
So
program?
it will. Building audits is one of them.
Yep.
So that'll take care of that. But all of the upgrades and things that we'll be looking into for this audit are additional projects for the CSC application.
We can do for
So-
the next round. Right?
Correct. Yes.
Actually, if you would like an update on where the Climate Smart Community Task Force is with respect to the certification process, we're actually
Jinx it.
Don't say that.
we resubmitted, and at this point, we've gotten confirmation that we have the points that we need to get bronze certification. However,
that's a highlight.
Hey, come on.
there were two priority projects that we needed to get done. We've submitted the information on those. We're confident and hopeful that those will get approved as well, but we just need the approval on those two priority activities.
We're really close.
And we're just waiting to hear. So,
Well, thank
yeah.
you. Keep us posted.
We heard from them, was it today? Yesterday?
Yeah, today.
Today?
They were asking for our town seal.
We
So
don't know what
hopefully
means
that
yet, but
means
it can't be
something.
a bad thing if they're asking for a copy of the seal, right?
No.
I don't know.
That's got to be a
Kira's like got a really nice smile. She's showing a lot of teeth. Yeah.
No, but the CSC.
Oh, you mean that seal? I thought we had a pet seal in town hall. I was like, how come I never got
Oh,
one?
God.
We keep it in the sewer department. That's why.
Cyrus
All right,
Face-
this is great.
Thank you.
Face said it all on that one.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Fantastic.
Nice job.
If we get the designation, I just gotta tell you, that's
It's huge.
That is
We're gonna get it.
tremendous.
We're gonna put a sign on the front door.
Okay,
Gotta
let's
do what
go
it takes.
to John McMullen, Poet Laureate. Mr. McMullen. Good evening.
Evening,
Evening,
John.
John.
Good evening. Thank you.
Hey, John.
My country, my state, my town. My country is a mess. Red versus blue, white nationalists versus everyone else, politicians who have forgotten how to separate policy from personality, how to disagree without being disagreeable. My state is free of this craziness. Incumbent governor running against former county executive, my former town supervisor is running for lieutenant governor, the current supervisor is running for state legislature. All recognizable, relatively calm people, none likely to utter racially bigoted statements or weave wild conspiracy theories. True, we have a lot of crime in the state, mainly in urban areas, often violent crime, murder, rape, assault, burglary, manslaughter. But this is nothing new. It has been going on since Theodore Roosevelt called my NYPD grandfather my kind of cop. The mayhem in Buffalo changed that is free to was free. Racist slaughter, fed by the belief that there is a Jewish-based conspiracy to replace whites with brown and black-skinned people. There are other wacko theories floating already, that it was the FBI that really killed the 10 in order to blame white nationalists for the crime. Just as Neil Armstrong really walked on a phony moon at a Houston TV station, that no one dived in a Connecticut school. Whoever gets elected to state positions will have a lot to do. In my town, we debate zoning and progress with tradition and ways to bring business to town. No charge of Jewish conspiracy or crazy replacement theories. There is generally respect shown to even those we disagree with. People seem to care about both the town and those who live in it. Can we keep it this way? We think so, but then again, Buffalo thought that the bills would be the top topic for all of 2022. Then after I wrote that, there was some other stuff that I wanted to say. So I had aftermath. But admittedly, the country unites to take on major problems like 9/11 in Ukraine. But then it's back to the mess. We must take on the mentality of my town where all elements, religion, races, status, ideologies, must come together to fight fires, fix the road, shop, fund the schools, clean up debris, keep the town prosperous and livable. Only then can we fix the mess.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Respect shown when we disagree. That's what we do. Okay. On that note, respect shown when we disagree. Courtesy of the floor. As a reminder, 3 minutes is the time. As a reminder, what do I always say, Town Board?
Be very
You
courteous.
don't have to wait until
Oh, yeah.
courtesy of the floor. Courtesy of the floor. Excuse me. Courtesy of the board. Courtesy of the floor. To raise any issues or concerns for the town, you can call the clerk's office. You can call my office, 914-962-5722, extension 200. You can go on to yorktownny.org. You can find the email addresses and contact information for our highway superintendent and every member of the town board and every elected official. As I always say, when you come to the podium, please keep your comments respectful of our community, respectful of the board and our elected officials, and we look forward to hearing from you. And with that, we'll take our first speaker.
Just a question. We saw in the press that the overlay district is being sued, or what town board's being sued. Is that only the Heights overlay district, or is it also the Jefferson Valley one, the Osceola one?
Mr. Attorney?
But do we want to answer at the end? on Courtesy
yeah,
of the
we'll
floor?
answer
We'll answer it at the end.
Yeah, John, we answer
We'll
the
answer it
questions.
all
We'll
at the
answer
end.
everything at
You're
the
right.
end.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Next.
Let me do this. Excuse me.
Take your time.
Good evening, Supervisor Slater and council members. I'm Mel Tansman, and I've been a resident of Mohegan Lake for 31 years. Tonight I come to mourn those we lost in Buffalo, New York. Of the 13 murdered, 11 were African Americans. The terrorist, a white supremacist, scouted and targeted an area which was a black majority community. He was only 18 years old, and his manifesto argued that there was a conspiracy to replace the current white Christian majority, by those who were non-whites and non-Christian. Many of us believe that such an action was facilitated by systemic, economic, and exclusionary policies and histories, which enable segregation and create barriers to diversity. The last several years have shown that Yorktown is not immune to such virulent racist ideologies, which are based on fear and division. Town leadership has issued resolutions and proclamations to condemn incidents which have made our town and school districts the subject of negative news reports. We must do better and do more. Back in November, I pleaded that the town facilitate an honest community discussion about hate and discrimination, which does have a foothold in our town. Supervisor Slater promised to bring in a consultant to address and organize a forum. The answer is not simply to target and condemn those individuals who had the audacity to speak what was in their mind. They can change, and they can be forgiven. We must sincerely explore as a community those attitudes and policies from which hate arises. I renew that call tonight. Today, our 2 school districts are voting on trustees and budgets. One slate of candidates in each school district have made statements such as the best way to eradicate racism is to stop talking about it, and that a diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative will oppress white students by subjecting them to guilt. They have initiated campaigns to remove books from school libraries by authors of color and with different sexual identities because they are not age appropriate or they're pornographic, anti-American, and anti-police. These self-appointed guardians of morality are not satisfied with exerting parental control over what their children read. They wish to deny the right to access these books to all students. Listening to these positions, it is hard to believe that this is not just a small fringe sector of our community. Yet, I am surprised and dismayed that a member of this council has chosen to formally endorse and promote candidates for school boards who openly support and further these positions under the guise of parental rights. I do question the advisability of an elected town official efforts to influence a local election, which is separate and apart from their jurisdiction and responsibility.
Time's up.
I hope that the council member will explain his support for the contentious and controversial positions taken by the slates he has endorsed. Thank you for this opportunity to speak this evening on issues that must be addressed by this community.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next.
Good evening, Town Board.
Good evening.
Brian Duffy, one of the organizers for Fam Jam. I wanted to take some time tonight to say thank you to so many people who collaborated to make a great event. Supervisor Slater, obviously we met 6 weeks prior, and I think you thought I was crazy, but we proved otherwise, right? We thought it might be next year, but it was this year, and we capitalized on some great weather, which is hopefully the same for next year. What can I say? It took this town to get together and make such a great day. Town Clerk, Diana Quest, thank you so much once
my
again.
pleasure. It really was.
I think you
Yeah,
thought
it
I
was
was.
great.
I think you thought I was a little crazy trying to push everything through, but we had a mission and we were going to get it done. Highway Supervisor Dave, thank you so much. Not only you and your direction, but your men, unbelievable. It was seamless from the word go. Super proud to be there with your men. To our Police Chief Noble,
Yeah.
organizing all his men, no incident. Thank you so much. Jim Matarando from the Parks and Rec. What an amazing individual to work with. He not only showed up at a couple of our meetings, but overwhelmed us with what he was going to do. We're going to bring tables. We're going to bring men to help clean up. I didn't realize this existed in the town of Yorktown. And to Councilman Esposito, thank you so much for taking the pictures. From what I understand, you might get an award.
Yeah.
My cousin put together the website
I
and was
saw it's
asking
great.
who was taking all these pictures, and I didn't ask you. You did it, and we truly appreciate it because it added to the event. So much was needed for this town. The event raised slightly over $10,000. Obviously, being who I am, I wanted to raise $20,000. We didn't hit there, but that's why we all have goals. We strive to do better for our town. I would like to introduce the committee. However, they're still meeting tonight, so we're planning for next year, believe it or not. But I have Tom Dunn with me, who was instrumental in getting this event up and running. Patrick Murphy, Colleen Duffy, Joe Mazzarella, Keith Pellet, John Farrell, Mike Salazzo, John Madden, Eddie and Michelle McKerney, and my wife Catherine Duffy, all Yorktown residents who got together and upheld what I've been told is a great event. So there's plenty of other volunteers I'm sure I'm missing out on, but to them I say thank you. We're already planning for next year, as our meeting was the same as yours. We're looking to do a 2-day event, which will be April 29th and April 30th of next year. And we obviously have gotten a lot of feedback, and we will add more rides and games for the kids and more food trucks and all the best. But
Thank you, Mr. Duffy.
there's one last thing I want to say. Thank you to the ambulance corps. They showed up, helped us out. That was a big thing. And once again, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Great job. Anyone else for courtesy of the floor?
I know it won't be as much fun having to scurry to get the Fam Jam to go in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Now you got a year here. I don't know.
11 months.
Dan Strauss, 56-year resident. I did email you all a few weeks ago about picking up all the signs. No one responded. All the illegal signs. I need a little voucher for the gas mileage. But I still hold to that. I went to a Parks and Rec meeting the other night, and they do a terrific job. Mr. Diana, again, tonight, mentions the trash that's up there. They mentioned it. For 6 years, 3 administrations, I've said you could do something about it if you wanted to, but you choose not to. You have bigger fish to fry. There's no code enforcement. There's ways to get this problem remedied. You choose not to. You have bigger fish to fry. Through 3 administrations, 6 years. And I will say again, Mr. Slater is receptive to sending the code enforcement officer out on occasion, but the overall problem is never addressed, and it could be. And if you wanted me to go ahead, you can give it to me 3 months. I'll clean the whole thing up. 3 months, I'll clean it up. Don't need a code enforcement. Don't need the police. Need some cooperation. I'll take care of the whole thing. Just give me money for coffee and a donut in the morning, because I know there's a lot of humor here mixed in, and give me a little gas allowance, you know, with the gas prices now. 3 months. Volunteer. Don't have to pay anyone a dime. I'll clean it up. No problem. I mentioned the 4 signs in front of the Welcome to Yorktown. 2 days later, they were gone. I'm going to mention it again. As of today, there was grass and weeds growing 2 feet high in front of your sign, which is an embarrassment to your sign. It's an embarrassment to the town. And it's also an embarrassment and an insult to the Purple Heart veterans. Mm-hmm. Someone went and mowed the lawn this evening. You should take a look at it. They'd have been better off not mowing the lawn in front of it. It's more of an embarrassment to the town. Someone told me this week, Popeyes is filthy. BJ's is filthy. I won't even shop there anymore. And 2 years ago, I sent you an email about the post office and about the 4 trees that were taken up and are sitting there with pools of water in front of them with thousands of mosquitoes, and you don't contact the health department of the County of Westchester because it is an embarrassment and it is a health hazard to the town. And if you want to give me this job, 3 months, I'll say it straight out right now. Don't have to pay me a penny. I'll take care of the whole thing. Thank you, Mr. Strauss. And the new people coming into town will have a nice town to look at.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss.
Good to hear from you. Next, anyone else for courtesy of the floor?
We see Sarah.
It's me again. So, as you all know, among the many observances that we've been hearing about this month, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And Councilman Esposito, thank you for mentioning the Family Fun Day Mental Health and Disability Awareness event coming up this Sunday. I'm just going to provide a few more details about the event. It's going to take place between noon and 4 p.m. at the Pavilion at Granite Knolls, which is right next to where the inclusive playground is being constructed. So we'll all get a sneak peek of what we'll see in another 2 weeks when it opens up. During the event, there'll be children's sing-along, games, crafts, arts projects, face painting, yoga, breathing exercises for mindfulness and stress relief, demonstration of empowering self-defense skills. Local author Debbie Hudak the author of Why Doesn't Alicia Talk? Understanding Autism, will read and discuss her children's book. The really popular storyteller Jonathan Kruk will perform story theater, where children will help act out story characters in fairy tales like Puss in Boots and Dragon Tales. We'll have an open mic with poetry, stories, and music, all in the spirit of renewal, hope, and wellness for families of all ages, including young children, tweens, teens, and adults. We'll have informational tables from community-based organizations, including the Alliance for Safe Kids, Yorktown Special Education PTA, Yorktown for Justice, and NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness. YPD will have the registry for their people with special needs. Everything's free, but we will be encouraging donations for the sensory garden. For the full schedule of events, go to the community calendar on the town website. Just click on the May 22nd event. It'll take you to the page. There's an Eventbrite link where you can register, which just helps us plan. And you can get the full schedule of who's going to be on when, so you don't miss Jonathan Kruk or any of the other participants. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And thank you, Councilman Diana, for your support of this when it came in front of the Yorktown Parks and Recreation Department. And hope, I know it's a busy day, but, with the chamber event going on as well, but I hope you'll have an opportunity to stop by and say hello. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Sarah.
you.
Anyone else for courtesy of the floor?
Motion to close, courtesy of the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Comments from the board?
Fan Jam was great. I will just say, from someone who's done a lot of events, even though they've been successful, it doesn't prove that I'm not crazy for doing some of them. So, Brian, I see he left, but if you're out there listening, great job. But going already for next year, like just jumping right back in.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad they are. When you came in from entrance stage left and you looked over the crowd, it was like, holy crow.
Yep.
And they put this together in 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, did a great job.
It was amazing.
I know I saw Charlie and Elizabeth enjoying the rides there.
My wife and I were away for her birthday.
Yep.
So that was the
Your mom
weekend.
and grandma were.
But Charlie and Elizabeth enjoyed immensely. So
Yep.
that was great.
Yep.
So thank you to Team Duffy. And I mentioned Tom Dunn earlier with March of Dimes.
Mm-hmm.
There he was, here in the flesh. But both do great things for our community. Adam, did you want to comment on Mr. McMullen's question regarding the overlay?
Sure. The Article 78 seeks to invalidate, among other things, the legislation that the board passed in December of 21, which included both districts. So the challenge includes both districts.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Well, I will also point out, I know that, code enforcement has gone out quite a few times. I've spoken to Jason about signs and all, and I've seen him come back with them, and unfortunately they almost come back quicker than they disappear. So, it's a never-ending battle, and, we try to keep up on it, but once again, it's they come in quicker than you can imagine.
Well, the 4 signs that Mr. Strauss spoke of that were in front of the chamber sign, not your sign, the chamber sign, that they were taken away because we alerted him of it based off of Mr. Strauss's report. Unfortunately, as frustrating as it may be, we can't be everywhere. We do rely on the public to help us. As Chief Noble says, help us help you. So when we get notified of things, we send our staff out to go take them. We try our best to stay on top of it. But, we do rely on our residents to give us a helping hand in that matter. So, and as for the grass cutting, that's not the town that does that. It's not town property if it was done tonight because there's no staff cutting grass tonight.
No, it's definitely private.
Yeah, I think it's the shopping center.
So yeah, Triangle owns that.
Yeah. So, but we'll let the Triangle property manager know that there was a complaint regarding how it was cut, and we'll have a conversation about that. Anything else? The only other thing I just do want to actually address Mr. Tansman's comments, because the thing I felt most disturbed about regarding the Buffalo shooting was the fact that this individual who I can't even find words to describe because I'm just so angry about what happened. But this individual drove 200 miles. 200 miles. That is just mind-boggling. So it's really, and I think that, you know, as leaders, it's hard sometimes for us to think about this, but how do you educate your own community and prepare your own community for somebody driving 200 miles to spew hate and destruction within your community? I think that's a hard thing for us to wrap our head around. That's something that I can tell you that I'm personally just struggling with right now. I spoke with Chief Noble first thing Monday morning about it. One of the things that we talked about doing was bringing back our active shooter drills that we do to educate the public. Because if people are now driving 200 miles away from 200 miles away, and we have two of our great police officers in the back, you know, we can hold all the educational forums that we want, but you really need, but I think it's also about educating the public about what to do in those types of dangerous situations, which whoever thought saying going to the grocery store is a dangerous situation? That's just crazy. That's crazy.
But in the world that we live in right now, I don't think anything is really crazy because of what we're seeing around the world.
When I say crazy,
Yeah.
I should say disappointing and terrifying.
So with that being said, I do know, I'd like to address Mel Tansman's comments. I do agree that we need a forum to have hard conversations that allow us to sit in other people's experiences and serve them with respect and openness and love and empathy. And I think it's something that we need to be taught, and it needs to be taught by the right people and the right individuals that can share their experience so that we can have that outreach. I wish there was more of a partnership. We are the town board. We are not the enemy. I find that I am trying my hardest to reach out to people in the community to help me educate not only myself as I expand my forum. Unfortunately, Sarah, I won't be able to come on the 22nd because I am going to a DEI 3-day clinic, and there's some books that I wish were in our schools that are not in our schools that talk about race and what inclusion really means. I think that when you talk about what we can and cannot do, it's really sensitive because I do think we want to do it and we want to create an open space and conversation, but you can't bring hate to a conversation. And as of right now, I'm getting tons of emails where I would love more and more. And if you want to reach out to me, I'd love to sit and talk with you, where I would love other people's perspectives and different lenses and seeing how I can help other people. I do it for myself because I love it. The awareness and the bringing of the mental health. Like, there's no fear here. You can't lead change with fear. So I would love to help dissolve it. So I encourage conversations to be had. And I do know, speaking with, Supervisor Slater and the town board, we all want healthy conversations to be had. So I do think that. As far as bringing up candidacies and advocating and whatnot, I would never shame you for advocating for who you believe in and who you admire what they say for. So I don't shame any of our town. I'm a parent. I'm a councilwoman. I'm Italian. I have a whole bunch of I ams. I like pizza, and that's the humor, right, Dan? But with that being said, I find it to be a bit of a target because, again, there's been a lot of advocating on other people's platforms, and we were elected because of the outreach we had in the community, not because we're politicians. Like, let me just put that out there. So us reaching out to friends and family is simply something we would have done on the behalf of anything that we support and love. Just like we would shout out someone's birthday. We get to be who we are. And sitting in those experiences so that we're not harming other people and we're accepting where other people are is also understanding why somebody else may have a different opinion. And so I just want to put that out there because I thought that was a little hurtful. And as far as your comments about the town, I just want to thank you. I see you picking up, signs. But I just want to thank you because when people drive by, I'm a big believer that the community learns by watching other people, just like children learn by watching their parents. I'm a big believer of that, and I like to give you a shout out with whoever's in the car with me when I see you going out of your way to do something beautiful for the community. So I just wanted to thank you because there could be more people helping hands, like you said. So that's definitely it. But Sarah, I will spread the word because I think that is amazing. So I definitely will, and I'm so sorry that I won't be able to attend.
Yeah, I'd like to sort of jump into some of your comments about the hate. You know, it's funny because we see one side of issues per se, and we don't see where there are other issues that are still there. So, you know, we didn't really get to the fact that there was an attack at a church.
Oh, yeah.
Where you know, this wasn't white supremacy. This was Chinese supremacy, actually, where it was someone who was Chinese and it was a Taiwanese church, and there was an attack there. There are all forms of hate, and we don't focus on all of those hate. We focus on the ones that we deem are important. And, you know, when you look at the crime in Buffalo, not only was it, you know, a hate crime against people of color, but Jews were also attacked too. It was anti-Semitic. And, you know, sometimes you have to really sit back and look at the big picture. And there are issues all through the world. There are people that are hateful. There are people that just, you know, we talk about Mental Health Month. You know, there are people with serious mental health issues that find these solutions to be palatable, which, you know, is not there. So, you know, I agree about the conversations, but I just really think the conversations need to be really inclusive of all the different types of hate. And I, you know, there's people that don't want to recognize that. And that's more of a divisiveness, and it's something that sort of sets people apart until we could recognize that there's hate against everyone, unfortunately, in our world.
And there's understanding what hate looks like. Because there are people that walk into a room and they're treated differently just because they walked into the room and they look different. And that's a real thing. Or their hair's different. And that's hate. And sometimes people don't even realize that it's in our intuition and whatnot. But unless you can sit into what's happening to that person, you can't. There are some of us that can choose if or when evil comes to us. And there's other people that feel that they're being attacked and they have to watch out for evil. Yeah. So I think, like you're saying, it's like all humans deserve to be held in love and in their personal navigation. And I think we need to respect their experiences. And we need to talk more about it because our kids have to have more acceptance and not fear and not new judgments. They have to actually sit with their friends, play with their friends. I mean, that amazing playground that we have, yes, it's an inclusive playground. And yes, it gives accessibilities to children who need extra accessibilities. But it's a place for all people to bring their friends with any kind of need. Yeah. And share and embark in that. And I wish we could have those healthy conversations. And they're not easy. But last time I checked, what Anna and Jamie did fighting for that park was not easy, right? Diana, you were right there with them. So it's things sometimes doing the hard stuff and putting ourselves out there.
But perspective is so important, like you said. I had before this meeting, my daughter's in from Germany. We went on a walk. She insisted I not take my phone. She regrets it because we had pretty much a 55-minute conversation. We do not see eye to eye politically.
That's okay. Still love her.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But we were looking at the same things we were talking about. God bless you.
God bless you. He's on the truth.
From two different angles. And when we finished, the only thing we agreed upon is that we have a different set of experiences and a different way of looking at it.
A different lens,
and it's the old set. Well, I always ask people, look out the window and tell me what you see. And I'm looking at something totally different usually. So,
we've noticed that.
It's, yeah.
I couldn't resist that. I couldn't resist.
But you're right. But we all have our different set of life experiences, and we all look at it differently.
It's true.
And you know, it is the unfortunate part of our world that teaching of love, of redemption, of forgiveness, of acceptance, and all of the things that are good is not a universal teaching. And that's really...
And it all comes from lack of understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And traumas, because traumas are passed. Sometimes children are born and they have the trauma. So the more we can understand them, and the healthier we can have those conversations. But I promise you, we're trying to have them.
Do you want to say something? I thought you were saying something.
I was going to, but
go on.
Go ahead.
All right. You know, this whole thing with Buffalo, like you say, it makes you angry.
Oh yeah.
And you have to almost look back on it and go, This is something that the establishment that is here right now, not us, but where this lad was from, he had a history. There's a history there that they didn't follow through with. Okay, these are things that need to be done. Luciana, you are involved in that sort of thing where you have to follow through. I remember you telling us about a client that you may have had to run to another state for. I'm not going to mention any states or anything like that. And this is part of it. It's and everybody, when something like this happens, does one of these. But clearly,
it's happening right here.
This young man had a problem from the get-go, and then he went to Buffalo to leash out on people he didn't even know. It was it's one of the most terrible things. It's like the school shootings to our east, to Sandy Hook, and everything else has been going on in this crazy world. And if we sometimes just sit back and take a breath,
right,
slow down,
slow down a little bit. Let's not pick on people for what they may put on their Facebook page or something else. Everybody has their own opinion, and sometimes it may not agree with other people's opinions, but it's their opinion, and that's that.
And if it's not hateful,
it's not hateful.
It should be
left alone.
Yep.
So Dan, about the LED, where are you, Dan? Hey, Dan. So about the LED sign, it's I know everybody assumes that it's my sign, but it really belongs to the chamber. Although I still have a role in the chamber, I am not in charge of dispersing money or anything like that any longer. And you are right. And even last year, it fell behind on me, and then I had somebody go in there and clean. The chamber's in charge of that little area in front of the sign and not the grass that borders the edge, just so everybody knows. So it does need to be cleaned up. I've spoken to the garden club. I've gotten my ear chewed off from the garden club on several occasions, and they are right. They were right. So, but I just wanted to make it clear. I will, and I drove by it the other day, and I meant to place a phone call to let them know, because the new chamber leadership might not be aware that
little piece,
and that's my fault. That falls back on me. So, I'm sure it'll get cleaned up. As far as speaking about the chamber, and when I was on my tenure there, I held DEI classes, diversity, equity, and inclusion classes in the workplace. We brought in a professional to speak about it, so this way we could foster that kind of an environment in the workplace. I also, I know that there's a problem with one of my posts that I put up, but what I don't hear, and I think what a lot of my point was with the post that I put up with the candidates is that, no one has acknowledged in all the shaming emails that I received today because of that, which were not nice. I know people want to speak about that and speak how that's not the right thing to do, but then it gets done anyway. But no one has mentioned my role as a parent, right? And that is the national issue that has taken over. Okay, no one has said, hey, Serge, as a parent, you spoke about the school. When I went, and there was that issue that happened at Lakeland, when I went there, no one said, why is a council member there? No, everybody was taking pictures. And it was on the internet. There's Councilman Sergio Esposito there. You're damn right I was there. I was there in support against the hate that happened there. So I think I have a stellar record. And I think I reach out to everybody, and I'm right down the middle on everything, and I try to help as many people as I can. And we will disagree. And I will not apologize. And I don't agree with everything every candidate represents on any right across the spectrum, especially today on the school board. Mm-hmm. Even the sitting members, I agree with a lot of what they do. I disagree with some of what they do. Okay, but to be quite honest, as a parent, I have every right. And as a citizen, because I know that a lot of people, they right away, they start screaming their First Amendment rights. What about my First Amendment rights? Isn't it a two-way street? shouldn't it be a two-way street? No, I reach out and I help everybody, and I may not agree with the candidates that you guys pick, or I pick, or you pick, or anybody else picks, but I'm respectful about it, and I respect what your opinions are, and I don't know what else to say. But as a parent, I have every right to do what I have to do and what I think. Now, let's go down with the schools. Let's talk about the schools, because everybody's saying how all of this stuff, it's going all over the place because of what I put up on my post, which I suggested the candidates. I don't agree with every exact word that the candidates I picked say, but I thought it was the best fit for me and for my family, and I had every right to do it. So, but it comes out, well, he's against the schools. I'm not against the schools. I think we have great schools. I never said that the schools were going in the wrong direction. I voted, if you really must know what I do, I voted for the school budget. Because I think the school budget is putting there are increases that are coming that we're all feeling. School uses gas too. They have heaters too. Costs have increased for everyone. So I voted for the school budget, of course, because they have to contend with the same increases and same inflation that we have to contend with. But I respect your decisions on your candidates and who you vote for, and I'm asking you to respect my decisions and my candidates. And I don't appreciate anyone suggesting that I'm not inclusive or I hate people, because I don't. And I think I have a long history that proves that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments? Otherwise, we'll move down. Excuse me. All right, advertise for public hearing. We're going to approve an order calling a public hearing for the establishment of the Halleck's Mill Sewer District Extension. This is there was a typo that was in the ad that ran in this past week's paper.
Correct, and we also had a issue with the Schedule A. There were some discrepancies in the address.
Same thing.
So we want to clarify that.
Right. So we're just clarifying that, and we're going to re-advertise.
Need a motion or?
Well, sure, motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we'll go to public hearings. We're going to convene a public hearing to consider amending Chapter 275 entitled Vehicle and Traffic, Section 275-4 and Section 275-6. We are going to have our Officer of Traffic and Safety, Officer Rohr.
How are you?
How are you?
Doing well.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you
as just a point of information, we do have a Traffic and Safety Committee. Members of the Traffic and Safety Committee are all here tonight.
We are. Yeah,
Whoa!
There you go.
Highway Superintendent Paganelli. We have Officer Rohr and Deputy Supervisors Tom Diana sits on the Traffic and Safety Committee. So whenever we get inquiries from residents, just to explain how this works, I know I get a ton of them, you get a bunch of them, you give a bunch of them. No, I'm joking.
I actually have one today that
There
came
you
across
go.
that I'll be sending to you guys.
And then we blame Officer Rohr.
No, I usually
Works
blame
out
you.
very
No, I'm
nicely.
kidding.
And you blame me.
Anything that works with these two guys, if it doesn't work.
But in all seriousness, we get any inquiries regarding our roads, stop signs, speed bumps, speed limits. Thank you for showing the notice. And then we give it to our Traffic and Safety Committee. You all then sit and you study the issue. I know you pull like traffic reports, traffic accident reports. You look at the data.
Yes.
Depending on what the area is, if it's what intersection it is. I know you go out there and you do your own traffic studies, Highway Superintendent Paganelli, to make sure that you're making the right decision for the safety of our residents. And so that's all part of it. And then you regather, and then you offer your proposal to the town board.
Correct.
And these are some of those proposals, which in order to be implemented need to be amended and added to the town code.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure, because we get these questions all the time. How come I don't have speed bumps on so-and-so street, right? And there's a
We
process.
discuss a lot of speed bumps.
I know you do.
Yes,
there's,
we
a,
do.
there's a process. But tonight we're talking about very specific areas. So Officer Rohr, do you want to just give us a high level of what it is we're looking to establish tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to start off by saying, kind of piggybacking off what Supervisor Slater said. Traffic Safety Committee's just main goal is to keep the residents safe and the people that travel through here safe. We take it pretty seriously, all your complaints. Obviously, we meet for hours.
And they're not all complaints, though. They're also suggestions.
And suggestions.
Let's be, not always complaints.
So,
They only seem like complaints.
They're very well worded suggestions.
Yes.
Very well worded, very strongly worded suggestions.
Yes, we take every suggestion seriously, and we do our due diligence. We do go out, we do site visits. You know, I pull traffic data on all the intersections, accident reports, all that. And, you know, we do site visits. We make sure, you know, what we're doing is for a good reason. You know, we're not just going to go, you know, for a stop sign. We're not just going to say, yeah, we believe a stop sign should go here or speed hump should go here. We really do our due diligence on everything that we do. So I just wanted to say that. I think the first thing on the table is going to be Rochambeau Drive. We had discussed that we wanted to add no parking to the west side of the road as you're coming up off Underhill Ave, come up the hill on Rochambeau Drive. On the west-hand side, we wanted to put no parking on the right-hand side as you come around the bend over there. That's mainly because it's kind of a blind turn for cars coming down the hill. If you have cars parked on both sides of the roadway, it's not enough room for two vehicles traveling opposite directions to pass through there safely. So we wanted to have it just one side road parking, especially around that blind curve, just to keep, there's a lot of pedestrians in the area,
absolutely,
as well as vehicles, people coming and going to their residences. So we were trying to get no parking signs placed in that area. The second is Gomer Street. Grace Siciliano, we speak to her a lot.
Yes.
She's the
the head of the neighborhood
neighborhood watch association over there. She brought to our attention that there are a lot of people parking across the street from the Gomer Deli, or the Steinman Deli as it's called now. So what we came up with is having no parking from the intersection of Gomer Street and Granite Springs, from Granite Springs all the way over to Marlett Place, which will help with traffic as they enter and exit Gomer Street. So a lot of issues that we've had there are big trucks, landscaping trucks. You know, Miss Siciliano contacts us constantly saying there's, you know, big landscaping trucks or people waiting for their food that are just parked across the street from the deli, not allowing traffic to flow, you know, safely through that intersection.
Creates a sightline problem. People turning onto Gomer Street.
Yes, it's a pretty tough intersection. It's a very busy intersection, so I think it'll make it a little safer for everybody if we do make both sides. Right now, the side closest to the deli is a no parking. We want to make the other side of the road a no parking as well, just to help with that issue over there. The third is Schofield Road. I know Dave could probably speak more on Schofield, but one of the residents there was asking for a no parking on the south side from the intersection with Mohegan Ave to about 100 feet east of its intersection with Mohegan Ave. So I guess, Dave, if you wanted to speak on that.
So Schofield, the gentleman that requested this, lives on the corner of Schofield and Mohegan Avenue. We went up, checked it out. Apparently, a lot of vehicles parked there for whatever reason, and he maintains his lawn very nicely up to the edge of the road. It has, you know, taken a hit with respect to people driving on it, parking on it. So we just felt that, you know, and also it becomes a sightline issue with respect to if you have somebody on the, what would that be, the west side of Schofield.
Yes.
As you're coming in off of Mohegan, making the right onto Schofield, it basically creates a sight distance problem as well. So, you know, having them parked there as you're coming around the bend, it's a very narrow road to begin with. If someone's parked there, there's only one way in and out, and now you're trying to get in, someone else is trying to get out. So, yes, that's the scoop with Schofield.
Okay.
You want? I'm just wondering. Can we? You want to just? And Adam and Diana, but I'm wondering if we can just stop there since those are all the no parking areas.
Mm-hmm.
So can we just have a discussion about that first?
Absolutely.
So if anyone wants to speak on any of the proposed no parking areas, please come to the podium. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak on any of the no parking areas, please come to the podium. Going once, going twice. And I don't believe we received any comment on this, right?
No.
No comments?
We typically don't refer out that because it is up to the highway.
Right, right. I just didn't know if anyone put any written comment in, so I couldn't be here. Okay. So then let's continue then, if you could, to the stop signs. Because now we're going to go talk about the proposed stop
And
signs.
I think before we even get into this, to Officer Rohr's point, when we look at, and we have tremendous amount of stop sign requests, really we could entertain putting a stop sign at every single intersection. And the fact of the matter is, if you're coming down a secondary road into a primary road and there's no cutting across, in other words, it's a T at the end, there is the assumption that you are supposed to stop, correct?
The rules of the road
Right.
state that you should stop.
So, you know-
Ensure that there's no traffic.
Right.
Right.
And
I mean, you know, you can't go straight ahead, so it bears, you know, sense that you would stop, look to the left, look to the right, make the turn. So we take the stop signs very seriously.
Is it-
because it's easy to say, it doesn't do any harm, but we don't take that attitude.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
That's all.
Great. So what do you have for us?
So the first intersection is Poplar Street, where it intersects with Forest Court. The reason why we thought a stop sign, you know, what we want to do is a three-way stop at that intersection. Currently, there's a yield sign as you're on Poplar Street coming from Curry Street, and there's a stop sign if you're coming out of Forest Court heading towards Poplar, and if you're coming from Somerston, there's no stop sign or yield sign. It's just kind of free flow. What we want to do is just clean up the intersection. That was really what we wanted to do.
This up there. Here, let's see if this is.
It's a strange little intersection.
Yes, it's a
Well,
wide,
it's a wide
intersection.
intersection. It's not very defined. That's the problem. What are we doing?
I want to put it up there so everyone can see.
What are we doing?
Just figure to make it
We did
easier,
actually
right?
have.
We're looking at the road.
Because it's
We did have-
easy.
we did have a
because not everyone
person
knows
that-
the roads like you.
We did have a person that had inquired about that, and they had stated that they felt that the stop sign would be pretty much ignored by where the yield sign would be. So that was something that.
All right, so
you know,
here we
took
have.
that.
So this is Poplar, right?
It's Forest.
Here's Forest right over here. This is Forest going down. By the way, I just want to make a point that this has all been paved more recently.
Pretty recent. Poplar has, yes.
Forest too.
Forest too, yep.
Yeah,
Forest
I
Sycamore.
gotcha. So what we're talking about here is you've got a stop sign here, right, Officer Rohr?
Yes.
And you have a yield sign here.
Yes. And then behind you, there's nothing.
And then on this corner here, obviously,
That's really cool.
you got nothing, right?
That's really cool, Dave.
Technology.
Very good.
Welcome to Google.
Technology.
So what we're talking about then really is putting. You want to put a stop sign where the yield is?
Yeah, so
and
we
you
wanna
want to
just
put a
make it
stop sign right almost in parallel with that tree or a little further back.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do was just clean it up a little bit. You know, make it a three-way stop. Everyone stops, ensures there's no traffic coming. You know, there's a.
Gives courtesy and then.
Well, yeah, you could see how wide.
It's
the
a very
intersection
wide intersection.
and people don't really respect that yield sign as they're coming down Poplar. It becomes an issue, and you've got people coming up Poplar the other way, and you got people coming out of Forest Court. It's too wide an intersection. It's not defined.
Yeah. So if you're stopped at the stop sign, you're seeing a car coming down Poplar Street towards the yield sign. Then you have another car coming.
So if you're
straight
here at the stop sign, right?
Yeah.
You don't. They have to come up to be able to see to the left.
Yes.
Coming down Poplar. Now the thing with Poplar though is because I live right there.
Mm-hmm.
You are coming downhill. So, I mean, so you're coming downhill. You've got a yield. You've got a person sitting here at the stop sign, and then you have someone coming in the opposite direction who has neither a yield nor a stop.
Yes.
Right. And so that
Correct.
could be a complicated situation.
Yeah. So if you're just focused on
Especially between the nothing and the yield.
Yeah,
So if you're
especially
just-
between these two sets.
if you're just a vehicle waiting at the stops right here, you can see the line of sight isn't that good. If the car's coming from Somerston down Poplar Street with that tree there, we could trim the tree back a little bit to help with the sight line. But if you're sitting there waiting for the stop sign, waiting for the car coming down from the yield, and all of a sudden, as you're staring at that car and you're trying to make a left on a Poplar, you're not noticing the car coming down straight. So I would just say, just to clean up the intersection, everybody comes to a stop. Everybody can see the vehicles as they enter the intersection. I think it just makes the intersection safer and a little bit more cleaner for everybody to kind of know what they're supposed to be doing. And you can add
From that
three-way stop,
standpoint,
all-way stop to right below the stop sign, so you know that everybody's coming to a stop,
Well, it's
and that you
interesting.
can safely
you
make
could
the turn.
use a prime example is Hanover and Underhill, or Commerce rather, at the firehouse. Three-way stop.
Everyone stops.
Hardly ever an accident, right? People all stop. They understand. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
They understand the rules of the road. You go, I go. You go, I go.
Generally,
you know,
yeah.
it just for the most
Generally,
part.
I'm glad
But
you
that's a
put
very
that in
that's a
there.
very busy intersection, and it works well.
Yes.
You know.
So I think in the beginning, there's going to be a learning curve, but I think just like Stony Street, East Main and Stony Street, there was a little bit of a learning curve.
Yep.
So far, it's working out great.
Yep.
So I just think that making the intersection cleaner, everybody knows that everybody's coming to a stop.
Yep.
It would just that was just our thoughts on that.
So that's Poplar and Forest. So now let's go. Dave, you want to see fun stuff? Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, bring me to Suncrest and Robin.
Now we're gonna go to Suncrest.
Go on vacation through Google.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm out on the road. Wonderful.
So we're doing Suncrest
Hard
and
to
where?
believe I get
Suncrest
excited about
and
this
Robin.
stuff.
Yeah, Suncrest and Robin Road.
Vacation, look at the beach.
All right, Dave, you ready?
Okay, make it happen.
Stopped you there.
Oh. Who's that running out of that house? No.
This isn't live.
Is this live?
When did you paint the roads, Robin Road, on the road?
Well, because they keep knocking down the signs, so I figured I'd paint the road.
So we
Well,
got
easier.
so we got Suncrest and Robin.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the same thing. We just wanted to do a three-way stop here as well. We had a few complaints about people kind of going through this intersection, cutting through, especially during
A lot of people walking with carriages and
yeah,
strollers
so,
and what have you.
During school hours, as school gets let out, a lot of kids from Copper Beach walk down Suncrest to their homes. So I've sat out there a few times, especially during dismissal, and I've noticed that a lot, especially with the parents picking up,
Yeah.
there's a lot of traffic in that area. And, as they're parked on the side of the road, cars have to go around, and it's just turning into a traffic nightmare. That's a whole nother issue with the, dismissal and the people getting picked up. But, so what we wanted to do is just kind of, we can't place a stop sign to slow traffic down. And I didn't notice any speed issue there. It's more just to make people more aware as they go through the intersection and just stop and look to see if there are any people in the roadway, any pedestrians. That was our main goal, especially, like I said, for dismissal. So what we wanted to do was a three-way stop at that intersection. There is a little bit of a line of sight issue, as if you look up to the left towards Suncrest, it's kind of a line of sight the way the road's engineered. And then as well as you look to the right, it's kind of
Here you go, Dave.
a curve around.
Right-
so
right around here.
it'll assist with
see how
people
wide.
stopping, taking a second to
Can you just go
look.
back here though for a second? When we were talking before, I'm just gonna go back into Robin here and turn around. See, Dave, I'm like in your truck now.
Oh man.
So, but this is like what we're talking about when you're coming to a T intersection.
Right.
So the rules of the road, and this is
But
what
that's
we're
not
pointing-
defined T. That's the problem with it.
I mean, I would consider that a T.
Yeah, but
I don't see
the picture isn't showing it how
like
it
a
actually
U.
is. It's very.
It's a very
it's
wide.
Very wide.
Yeah, but I know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
So
You know where I'm going with it.
Yes.
Yeah, theoretically you should stop there.
Yes.
But
Stop, look
the
both
problem
directions,
is,
ensure that no
since
vehicles are coming or
it's not
pedestrians.
that defined as a T. It's more like a Y.
Okay.
Than would be a T, and
Yes.
that's sort of where the issue lies.
Any
Yes.
questions from the town board on this particular proposal?
Nope.
No. All right, Dave, you ready?
Okay,
You wanna
take
go to
me
the
to
next
Bunny
one?
Lane. Bunny Lane is in your heart.
Bunny and Pine Grove.
Now I know why you're the highway superintendent, Dave.
You,
'Cause I can't
please.
sing.
You got to hear him sing when he's plowing. Let's see. We're going this way. Right?
Yes.
This is a place that should have had stop signs years ago.
Yes. And it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to us.
All right.
Because they're
So,
hopping down the block.
well, yeah.
Down Markham coming out there. Everybody's coming
All right,
down.
so got a few complaints about this intersection. A lot of people are using it during rush hour to cut through the Taconic off of Mohansick Ave. So they're coming to beat the traffic on 202. They're coming down Pine Grove, making a right on Bunny, making a left to go up towards Mark Road to White Hill up to the Mohansick
So
Ave.
they're coming down here, right?
Yes. If you want to zoom out, I could kind of show you the route that they're taking.
Yeah, sure.
Don't try this at home, people.
Yeah.
Dave, don't do this without me
We're
around.
gonna show you it, but don't
Or a
use it.
helmet.
Don't use it.
All right, here we go.
All right, so from 202, where you see Louise Popeye's kitchen
Yep,
right there.
right up here.
They're coming off 202, coming straight down Pine Grove Court there, making a right on Bunny Lane, and making a left onto Mark,
Yep.
and then going all the way down Mark Road to either one of those, but mainly all the way down
All
to
the way
White
down
Hill.
To White Hill. Yeah.
And then where White Hill makes a left, and just going straight to the Taconic southbound
south.
entrance ramp.
And it comes up here. This is where Wilkins is and everything like that.
Yes. So I have sat out there in the morning, and I've followed many cars doing that. Some at a high rate of speed, some not. So
Well, and also White Hill Road. That's not an easy road.
No.
That's a very
If
narrow.
you're trying to pull on a Mark Road on the White Hill.
And particularly if you're coming out of Mark Road.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Yeah, that's
why
tough.
a while back we approved a stop sign at
Yes.
Mark and White Hill.
Yes.
I'm surprised they're not shooting up like Walter or something just to make it easier, but
Nah,
No, because then they got to
go
keep
through the
left,
double
right,
stop
left.
sign.
True, you're right. I stand corrected, sir.
I have
So
a little knowledge of the roads. No, not a lot, but
what I have noticed is that the intersection of Bunny Lane and Pine Grove, it's a major school bus stop for kids in the morning. A lot of kids are walking to and from that stop. So what I wanted to do, just like over on Suncrest, is, make it a three-way stop. Ensure people are stopping and looking to ensure that no pedestrians are in the roadway. That was our main thing, to make that intersection a little
a
safer.
lot of the concern was the children waiting for the bus.
Yes.
And it was unfortunately coinciding with rush hour.
Yes. So to combat that a little bit, to make sure people are looking as they're coming around the turn onto Bunny, we wanted to place a three-way stop at that intersection just to make it safer for the kids in the morning and the afternoon when they get on and off the bus.
Okay.
So that was that intersection.
Okay. So that's Bunny Lane, Pine Court, and then lastly is Valley View.
Valley View, yep.
And Eleanor.
Another
Valley
one.
View is really, are you going to bring it up?
No, we don't go into Mohegan. I'm joking.
Well, Valley View is really a matter of consistency with respect to the stop sign.
Where are we going? Across road, or are you going?
No, go all the way up to Eleanor.
You want to go up to Eleanor?
Yes.
Oh yeah. This is always a weird one too.
Yes.
Well, it's a yield
Yeah.
at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and the requests had come from people who live in the cul-de-sac.
So this
that
is
they wanted
it.
the stop
Yes.
sign because people didn't yield, but it didn't make sense to have a stop sign coming up a hill, as the grade is quite steep there. It made more sense to put the stop sign coming out of the cul-de-sac.
Yes.
Which I'm sure was not the answer they were looking for. But
Yeah.
that is unfortunately what makes sense.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable putting a stop sign at the top of a hill, especially if there's snow on the ground or anything like that.
There's never snow on the ground.
Yes, as you know, Dave.
No, Dave. So where are you planning on this one? Is
So
it
basically, pretty much where that
mailbox
mailbox is.
right
would
here,
be a stop
looking
sign.
this way?
No,
For the
other
people
way.
coming out
out of the cul-de-sac.
of the cul-de-sac, that's a
Right.
dead end
If
down
they're
there.
coming towards us,
If
there's
they're
going to be
coming
a
towards
stop
us,
sign.
they would have to stop.
Yeah,
Yep.
that makes a lot of sense.
And that'll just help with the people that are yielding on Eleanor as they enter.
Yeah, because they're whipping
Valley View.
around.
Yes. So
Yeah.
they and it's you can't really see as you're coming up that hill. You can't really look behind you too well.
Right.
See if there's any cars coming out of that.
The way
that
the angle is,
cul-de-sac.
it's very hard to look to
It's
the
pretty
left.
difficult. You might be able to pick it up on Google Maps if you go down Eleanor to see the kind of angle that you're looking at. But it would help a lot to everybody
That's
involved.
the angle. Like you can't see anything to your left.
Correct.
Yeah, if you go up a little bit, it's kind of tough. It's almost like the intersection where Lakeland
This way?
Lakers is, where we're
Yeah.
working on that intersection as well.
Yeah, that's real tough. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so and we, like I said, I don't feel comfortable putting a stop sign on the top of a hill. So I think what we thought would make the most sense is to place a stop sign on Valley View at that intersection. So as people are coming up to the yield, they can see a car if it's stopped there or if it's coming, so they can safely enter Valley View.
Thank you.
So that's
All right,
that.
so then let's go to the public. If there's any questions from the town board on any of this?
I don't know.
So then we'll take any comments from the public. Anyone who wants to speak from the public on any of the proposed stop signs? Anyone? Okay.
Motion to close.
Second.
We have a motion to close. We have a
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So then with that, hearing no objections from the public,
Motion to accept
we'll make a
the
motion to
changes.
adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Very good.
Good. Thank
Well
you.
done, traffic and safety team.
We do take this serious.
Good job.
We really do.
No, you guys did a great job. Yeah.
And every quarter we have more and more and more and more.
Yeah, we're gonna be.
We're about due.
No, you
We
guys
are
are meeting
due.
soon because
Yeah.
I,
We are due.
Right?
Yeah.
We got a couple.
Yeah.
I have a little folder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
About
Very
that
good.
big.
No, it's not that.
Thank you very much, Officer Rourke. Great job.
Thanks, Rob.
Great
Thank you, Rob.
presentation.
Good job.
Good
Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to resolutions. I'm gonna get this.
Glad we
off.
had the other officer back there to keep you in line.
I know. You're telling me. Good if I stopped it. Yeah, there you go. All right, resolutions. We're going to approve the order. Again, approve order calling a public hearing for the increase and improvement of facilities in the Consolidated Water District in the town of Yorktown. This is specifically related to the funding of the water meter project. It's exciting stuff. We're going to authorize the comptroller to refund the following listed duplicate tax payments for the 2022 town and county taxes. We're going to authorize the supervisor to execute a regional kitchen agreement with the town of Cortland. We're going to authorize the Section 8 program director to sign the annual civil rights certification for submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Great.
We're going to authorize modification of permit number WP-012-18 to include the annual application of copper sulfate.
Pentahydrate.
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 Control of blue-green algae. Thank you very much.
I'm surprised.
Accept performance bond of 107631630. This is performance bond, and we also have a stormwater and tree permit as well. Authorize the town to execute an odometer disclosure statement, power of attorney, and bill of sale in connection with the transfer of ownership of vehicle number 1FM5K8AR6JGC44557. Thank you
Well
to our
done.
town clerk for having me read all that.
So
Coming out of one moment.
Sorry.
Coming out of closed.
And then I got a question, too.
Resolved that the supervisor is authorized to enter into a license agreement with Michael O'Neill and Stella O'Neill, DBA O'Neill's Concessions, to operate food and refreshment concessions at the Brian J. Slavin Aquatic Center and the Junior Lake Pool for a fee of $4,000 for the term retroactive to May 1st, 2022 through September 15th, 2022. Additionally, resolved that the supervisor is authorized to enter into a professional services agreement with Daylight Savings Company for A-Share Level 2 energy audit in an amount not to exceed $10,000 for the town's share of the audit.
Amazing.
We had one, is that 1 second? Yep. To our town clerk. Was there something else that I missed? Those are the two. Councilman Esposito, question.
Yeah. I mean, who pays their taxes twice?
You'd be surprised.
A lot of banks.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Sometimes the bank.
The bank sometimes
Does that.
hits the button twice and it sends.
We had an individual here last week.
His wife paid it and then he paid it.
I'm just saying, I'll pay my taxes, but I ain't paying
He
them
sent the
twice.
check. So it, there's yeah.
We also
Yeah.
and
Well, serious.
this was great because I know our Kim Penn was able to help.
Peanut.
Kim Penn was able to help. We actually had a veteran that was in a similar situation where the bank double paid his taxes. He couldn't understand why his mortgage went up so much, and Kim was able to help him figure out. So it definitely happens. If you see a big jump in your mortgage, that's probably where it was.
Yep. So with that, we'll take a motion to
So
accept
moved.
those resolutions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. I was just kidding about the question, by the way.
Oh,
You guys got all serious on me.
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
It
People
is.
wonder those things. All right, with that, we will make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Yorktown. Thank you, Dave.
Don't forget to
Thank you,
go to
guys.
Burger King on Saturday.
Great job. Thank you. And if you can't make it.